TOA, Fit Body Forever, and Fit Body Bootcamp communities. What's up, everybody? I'm Robert Lingle with TrainingTheOlderAdult.com. And I want to pop on here today and talk to you about some tips for success when attempting to pursue a new fitness endeavor / routine, New Year's resolutions, goals, whatever it is that you want to pursue. We are going to talk about that a little bit. But first, I want to give a shout out to our unofficial sponsors of our station here, our guys over at Live Bearded. Live Bearded, as you can tell, I love my beard. These guys are fantastic. They've got great products. My personal favorites are their beard oils and their beard butters. These are all natural and extremely good smelling products. They have single orders. You can do a subscription if you want to. These are all designed to help you with any kind of beard itch and forming your beard and taking good care of your beard so you can have a healthy and happy relationship with your beard, and others can have that happy relationship with your beard as well, meaning all the other ones that have to look at it, deal with it, and or cuddle up next to you, says my wife, who loves the smell and the touch of my beard. All right, let's get into this, everyone. Our first focus in here is going to be, let's see, where do I have it at? There it is. We are going to focus here on our tips for our fitness program. Number one is going to be resistance training. And I know this kind of goes without saying. You're like, well, of course, this is super common because I am such a big fan of this. It's always the very first thing that I bring up anytime we are looking at a successful endeavor to the aging process, to the success of the fitness program. Resistance training is always a must. This is the one that we encourage everybody to participate in, no matter what your age and what your training outcome is. If you want to look better by losing weight, if you want to perform better in your sport or in your daily, mobilities and activities and abilities, and or if you just want to feel better, if you're tired of feeling sluggish and not sleeping well and having your body ache and hurt and pain, any of these things that you're going to pursue, if you get stronger, you are going to be much more likely to achieve them, and they will happen much quicker. So some general guidelines or rules for that is you should get in and resistance train 2 to 3 times a week, anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes with each bout that you do that in. And ideally, this would be full body, what we would consider compound or complex movement patterns, meaning that you're using multiple joints at the same time. An example would be a goblet squat, holding a weight at my heart, and I squat down. I have my ankle, my knee, my hip, my shoulders, my elbows, my back, like everything is being utilized pretty much in the whole body. That is a very complex / compound movement pattern, where if I do a bicep curl, I'm basically just working my wrist and my elbow. And so that's a rather auxiliary or simplistic, simple single joint focus. It's not that there's anything wrong with those, but if we're in a short 20-minute window, we want to get our best bang for buck, and you train those smaller muscle groups while you're training the bigger compound movements as well. If I do some rows or some pull downs, I get my biceps trained. If I do some bench press or some overhead pressing, I get my triceps trained. So you don't necessarily have to go through every single body part throughout the entire circuit of machines. You could do a horizontal push, a chest press, and a horizontal pull, a row, and a leg press, and then maybe shoulder presses. You could get away with just 4 lifts, and that's it, and pretty much cover everything you need, just as a basic foundational start, and then eventually start to progress in and do more. Ideally, something where you're pushing and pulling, something where you're hinging and squatting, and then something where you split your feet and or carry some heavy loads. Now, we have something called an RPE as well. This is rate of perceived exertion, and it should be somewhere around a 6 to an 8. A 10 would be your maximal effort. A 1 would be really hardly any effort at all. So you could put a percentage to this, 60 to 80% of your maximal effort, but not necessarily your maximal 1 rep max, which is the difference when you have 1 RM, 1 rep max, and an RPE. Many will hear 60 to 80% and naturally assume that means it's a percentage of their 1 repetition maximum, not their 10 repetition maximum. So that's where we kind of pull away from the percentages and just say, well, effort here should be a 6 to an 8, meaning it could, you could do a couple of more at the end, but you're not completely maxing out every single effort that you do this in. Another one is called RIR, reps in reserve. And the reps in reserve typically will leave about 2 to 4 reps in the tank, meaning if you're bench pressing, you get done and I say, how many more could you do? And you go, 3 or 4 more. Perfect. But if you say, I could probably do like 10 more, then you probably go a little heavier, right? We want to have enough that there's a challenge, enough that's overloading a stimulus to your body to change, to adapt. Because if you just continue to lift weights that aren't all that hard and you want to just check the box, like, oh, I worked out today, I did my resistance training, but you're using such a light weight, there's no stimulus for your body to change. So it's just going to stay the same. Unfortunately, a lot of people out there do this, and that's where you'll see on our t-shirts and a lot of the posts that we put up on our signs, it says, stop sarcopenia, end underloading. And the ending underloading means that you're not going to lift these light little loads all the time because you're afraid of getting hurt. That's actually what's going to hurt you, is you're just going to get a tendonitis of some sort because you're not lifting heavy enough to overcome the strength needed to be able to move. So it's actually better to lift some heavier loads. And then a general guideline is after you train on a Monday, you shouldn't train again until at least Wednesday, in my opinion. Give yourself a good 48 hours. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to do anything in between there. It just means as far as how long should you recover between resistance training bouts, about 48 hours, maybe even 72. We have a lot of clients that do a Monday-Thursday split, and they love that, and then they typically do something on Saturday as well on their own. But as far as pushing themselves with me, online or in-house, those two, like a Tuesday, Friday, or a Monday, Thursday, works really, really well, okay? All right, our next one is walking and or rucking. And a solid walk every day is always going to be beneficial. It increases blood flow. It gets you outside. Foot contacts, ground contacts, steps that you get throughout the day, upwards of 7,000 to 10,000 would be very, very effective and efficient. Very good for you to stay that active and keep your body moving that much. But if you were able to do so with an extra 5 or 10 pounds strapped to your body somehow, you would have a greater return on bone density with every step, increased strength efforts with every step, a greater demand on cardiovascular return with every step. And the challenge to this now becomes a bit harder. You don't have to go as long or as far because you're manipulating and moving more load through space. So we have a lot of our clients will start training with us and they go, well, what do we do? What do I do on the days that I don't see you? If I'm here on Monday and Thursday, what do I do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and the weekends? So we'll ask them, if you have a old JanSport backpack or anything that you could cinch up and hook onto your shoulders and head out, a hiking backpack, anything like that, take, a couple of towels and a few books and stuff them in there and go for a walk. And that simple, 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds, it produces quite a good training stimulus. But basically, you're getting to rest that weight on your hips and strap it to the shoulders and kind of frame it onto your body where you're not carrying it and hurting your shoulders and your grip, etc. But you're able to take an extra, let's call it 10 pounds for easy math, 10 pounds with every single step that you take. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So if you go out for, a 2-mile walk or a mile walk even, and you put in an extra 3,000 steps to do that, well, you just moved, a significant amount of load, 10 pounds at a time. And your body will respond to that. The density of bone return, that your bone density response to that will be very good, especially if you seek hills, as we put on here, and work on these up and down attempts. You get a lot of ground contacts, a lot of foot contacts, and that's very healthy for your feet. It's very good for your Achilles. And these are two of the more problematic areas. Basically, getting a frozen shoulder of the shoulder, it's a frozen big toe, the hallux joint. And that joint will start to lock up and freeze up. And the less pliable the hallux joint of the toe is, the more likely you are to fall and the more likely you are to have decreased quality of life as you don't have as much ability to be able to go and do the things that you might want to go and do. So we encourage people to seek the hills so you get more toe break in your feet instead of just continually walking on a flat, straight surface. The impact you get from descending down from these hills as well is very good eccentric strength on your knees and your hips and your quads, your back. So you get great value there just as much as you get from the foot contacts and the cardiovascular response of climbing up. So both sides of the hill have very good deliverables, good responses, good training outcomes. They're just different, and you can benefit from all of those. Now, general rule of thumbs here for us to start off. There's a couple of them that you can embrace and talk about. The first one would be just simply to start with 5 pounds of your body weight. 5% of your body weight, and build up to maybe 10%. So a 250-pound man, me, I think I started with 15 and then built up to about 20 or 25. And I've been going now for, I think I'm up on my 5th year of rucking. And I typically carry about 35 pounds with me. So that's, 15%, somewhere right around in there. But beginners starting off, 2.5% to 5% is a great place to start based on your body weight, and then just start gradually building that up. If you can get up to 10% of your body weight, that'd be great. That means a 150-pound person is taking a 15-pound weight in their backpack and off and going. That's fantastic. Some will ask about wearing weighted vests. Vests are good if you're going to go for maybe 45 minutes or less. If you plan to walk further than that, I would invest in a good backpack. It's just a lot of stress on your shoulders to carry for such a long time without hip support. So we say right around 45 minutes, we encourage a ruck to be worn. Other ways to do this, ladies, 5 to 15 pounds, gentlemen, 15 to 30 pounds, just typically based on our average frame size, etc. Or if you're 150 pounds or under, about 10 to 15 pounds. If you're 160 pounds or over, anywhere from 20 to 25 pounds. These are all general guidelines I've kind of seen on there. I just want to supply them all to you. And keep in mind, it is not a negative thing to utilize walking sticks. It's actually an increase in the challenge. It's quite a bit harder to perform hill ascents and descents utilizing the sticks. Yes, it gives you more balance, but it also requires more coordination and full body effort, which gives you a greater output of energy. It also fatigues you sooner too. It's actually quite hard to push yourself up a hill with your arms while you're driving with your legs at the same time. It's a upwards of 20 to 30% greater effort in doing so. So that will fatigue you. Just kind of keep that in mind. It's not a negative thing. A lot of people think that. Now, last one on this page until we flip to our next ones here is a focus on proper sleep. Anywhere from 6 to 10 hours a night. I think this is pretty vital. On average, I get about 6 to 6.5 during the week. And then on the weekends, I get anywhere from 7 to 8 hours. If you have injuries or limitations, sometimes it's really difficult to sleep longer because your body aches and it hurts. If you can, like I will do on the weekends, I will get up and I'll move about and maybe do a little bit of paperwork or do a little mini workout, and then I'll go back to bed and get some more hours of sleep in just to help my body loosen up. But then I've got a reason to go back to sleep. Ideally, though, you would just sleep straight for 6 to 10 hours every night and get a good recovery. A good rule of thumb for that is as the day goes on, if it's 1, 2, 3 o'clock and you're getting heavy eyes and you're having a hard time staying awake and you're seated upright, you're not laying down on the couch and like almost asleep. If you're just having these bouts where your eyes are getting heavy and your head's dropping and you have to take caffeine or coffee or whatnot, you're probably not getting enough sleep. Right? And that can lead to a gradual decline in your immune system. You'll get sick more often. In my case, eventually I got so run down and so beat up, I got shingles. This is a great concern. So sleep is very important. Make sure you're getting enough of that. Some people like to sleep better when it's a colder or cooler environment. Others prefer it warmer. The problem becomes when you have two individuals sharing one bed and one likes one style and the other likes the other one. There are beds out there that are designed with cooling and heating systems built into them, and they are split down the center. So if you, myself, were more of a cool sleeper, you might be able to use a cooling system, or you only have one blanket on the side of the bed, where if your counterpart, my wife, is a warm sleeper, she may have the fleece sheets underneath, and another one over the top, and an extra blanket and a warming blanket, etc. They can do warming blankets. You can do weighted blankets is another way too to provide a lot of comfort to people when they sleep. I, of course, being 250, I'm like, I'm going to try a weighted blanket. I want the heaviest blanket they make. So I got a 20-pound blanket. And I had never been so overwhelmed and so uncomfortable before. You just think like 20 pounds is no big deal. It's a big deal when it's just constantly laying on you while you're trying to rest. You don't recognize like how much your body goes. It does not stay rigid and engaged like I would if I were holding this weight. I just completely relax and your body basically kind of goes limp. And then this weight just sits on you and it hurts. It caused way more damage and panic for me. So this is ridiculous. I would have been better with a 5 or a 10 pounder. So start light and you can progress your way up. There are breathing devices out there that help with this too. If you snore, if you have any type of, what's it called? Sleep apnea, okay, anything like that. They have the breathing strips. I've seen new ones now with little stickies you put on the outside, and then you have a little magnet that goes on there and opens your nose up for you. There were some old school ones that just you put them on and they'd stick and the thing would pull apart. I've seen ones that go in your nose and spread your nose. I've seen all kinds of different mouthpieces that are supposed to help hold your mouth open and your tongue in position, keep you from snoring, all that. There's CPAP machines. I don't know if I spelled CPAP or what that even stands for. I didn't look it up. I just threw it on there to remind myself to say it to you. So if that's wrong, please excuse me. Whatever you can do, everyone is very different, and you need to be able to find your specific patterns for sleep, how much you need, and do you need it completely dark? Do you need white noise? Do you need, some people that can't have a single light on in the room? There are blackout curtains. There's all kinds of different stuff that you can do, and there's apps that make noise. And when we travel, if we're in a hotel, I have a fan next to my bed that is not there to cool me. It's just there to give me the background noise. I have a form of tinnitus that there's a constant ringing in my ears. I have done a lot of shooting my whole life of handguns and such, rifles, you name it, I've shot it. And I'm not a hunter, I'm a target shooter. And did a lot of shooting as a kid without proper ear protection. And because of that, have some hearing damage and ear damage that bothers me to this day. So I have to have, screaming kids, I have to have some type of white noise to help me when I go to sleep at night. So I travel with a fan. I also have an app that I use that it's the sound of the ocean or a fire crackling or whatever it is. And the last part here is you need to give yourself a reason to be tired. So this is where the resistance training and the rucking goes hand in hand, and why I put these together. If you're not giving yourself a reason to be tired at the end of every day, then this is not going to really go all that well for you. Like, you need to have a purpose. You need to have a reason to be tired every day. If you expect that you just wake up and you operate at a level 3 out of 10 all day long, and then you go, well, let's shut it down and go to sleep. What are we shutting down from? You barely operated by getting up, eating, watching TV, eating again, watching more TV, going to the bathroom, going to sleep. Like, that was your day. And if that just happens over and over and over again, you're not going to probably sleep all that well. So then you start to take sleep aids to help you in that. And now we have a whole nother dependency issue that's now going to the use of a medication, rather than if you went out and walked every day and like challenged yourself and pushed yourself and got uncomfortable to the point where I'm sweaty and I need to come home and shower and change my clothes. I don't care how older you are, and I don't care how young you are. I have a lot of clients, well, I've done my hair for the day. I've got all my jewelry. Well, it's not time to go out and shop and go see your friends and socialize. This is exercise time. You need to dedicate exercise time to exercising. And then you can go get cleaned up and put all your jewelry on and do all your stuff, because these are two different endeavors. And so that's part of the problem we see with our clients too that age, is they just don't want to push that hard because they don't have to change their clothes again, or they don't want to, it becomes an inconvenience rather than an embracement of, I get to go exercise. I'm going to embrace that. I'm going to challenge myself. Now I have all this great energy. I'm all fired up. The post lifter's high, if you will. I'm going to go do all my socials. I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to go see all my friends. I'm going to do whatever it is. I'm playing bingo. I'm going to play racquetball or cricket, whatever, golfing, whatever it is, okay, pickleball. And then when I come home, I'm tired. I'm ready to go to sleep when the night comes. and now I'm just out for the next 8 hours. That's the goal. But you gave yourself a reason to be tired. Without that, this is not going to go that well. I'm sorry to say. You're going to have a lot of struggles to get yourself to sleep at night. All right, team, this is part one. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any comments, questions, and anything you want to ask me, feel free to comment in the section below. Make sure you subscribe, like, share this out with anybody else that can help you, and look forward to seeing you in part number 2. Until then, I'm Robert Linkle, trainingtheolderadult.com. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Oh, wait. Don't forget to continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. I almost forgot. Okay, bye.